The flagship killer smartphone segment is heating up, and now to compete with the OnePlus 12R, probably its biggest competitor has recently launched. I am talking about the iQOO Neo 9 Pro. Hello everyone, I'm here for Fiiber buying you today, and welcome to the battery drain test video comparison between the OnePlus 12R and the iQOO Neo 9 Pro. Now of course, there is a price difference between both phones. In fact, the iQOO Neo 9 Pro is slightly more affordable than the 12R, but then again, does being more affordable make the Neo 9 Pro a second best deal, or does the 12R really justify its price tag? So performance and endurance are two of the biggest key factors for you while getting a new smartphone. Which one amongst these two should you buy? Let's find out, but of course, before we get rolling with the rest of the video, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. First up, here's a quick look at the key specifications of both the iQOO Neo 9 Pro and the OnePlus 12R on your screens. Now, the main reason why the 12R is more pricey than the Neo 9 Pro is because of the higher peak brightness, IP64 rating, a metal frame for that premium feel, and of course, the larger 5500 mAh battery. However, the iQOO Neo 9 Pro also makes up for it with a 144Hz screen, a good enough 5160 mAh battery with faster 120-watt charging, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, a lower price point. So do the extra additions on the OnePlus 12R justify its price tag, or should you rather settle in for the iQOO Neo 9 Pro? Let's go ahead. As always, we kick off by booting up both devices, and they boot neck to neck. So both smartphones on the table have dark mode enabled and are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The brightness and audio are set at 50%. All the image and video enhancement settings are enabled. 120Hz mode is enabled, and of course, both the phone's batteries are 100% and discharged. Starting off with the YouTube video playback test, and right off the bat, let me tell you, both phones have sharp and vibrant panels. In fact, in terms of how these displays output colors, very similar. By the way, let's get one thing out of the way, that is the 4500 nits peak brightness of the 12R's display, which time and again I have been saying, as of now there's no readily available HDR content to take advantage of the same. However, when we talk about both displays in high brightness mode, the Neo 9 Pro supports 1400 nits and 12R supports 1600 nits, slightly better, but more or less they get plenty bright outdoors or indoors. Similarly, whether it's 144Hz refresh rate or 120Hz refresh rate, both are smooth and shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. So according to me, the final preference between choosing which display is better comes down to flat versus curved. For me, I'm someone who prefers flat panels over curved ones because one, it is practical, it doesn't reflect on the sides, and it also doesn't cause any mistouches. By the way, which display do you think looks better here? Let me know in the comments. Alright, a time for the moment of truth, as we have ended our 2 hours of YouTube video playback. So of course, with the bigger battery, the OnePlus 12R is in the lead with 93% battery left, while the iQOO Neo 9 Pro is not very far behind. It is left with 91% battery. With that, it is now time to run an hour of 1080p video recording, and while both phones are at it, here's a look at the camera specifications. The iQOO Neo 9 Pro boasts a dual rear camera system featuring a 50 megapixel IMX 920 primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 16 megapixel snapper at the front for selfies. Video recording is capped at 8K 24 FPS from the rear camera and 1080p 30 FPS from the front camera. The OnePlus 12R, on the other hand, has a triple camera setup comprising a 50 megapixel IMX 890 primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. For selfies, there's a 16 megapixel snapper at the front. In terms of video recording, the rear camera is capped at 4K 60 FPS, while the front supports up to 1080p 30 FPS recording. Now here are some of the comparison photos of the Neo 9 Pro and 12R side by side. Which phone do you think took the better shots, and would you be interested in watching a full-blown camera comparison? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. With that, we are done with the 1080p video recording round, and what just happened? The iQOO Neo 9 Pro is in the lead with 79% battery left, while the OnePlus 12R has been left behind. Not very behind, but still it is behind. It is left with 77% battery right now. We'll talk about it later, but for now, let's go ahead. Alrighty, time to run some benchmarks to get an idea if both phones are put under heavy loads in the real world, which one is going to give the better endurance. First up, the specs. The iQOO Neo 9 Pro has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip under the hood, coupled with up to 12 GB LPDDR5X RAM and 256 GB UFS 4.0 storage. The OnePlus 12R on the other hand is also powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 SoC, coupled with up to 16 GB LPDDR5X RAM but with up to 256 GB of UFS 3.1 storage. Starting with Geekbench 6, while the single core score of both phones is more or less the same, it is in multi-core performance where the Neo 9 Pro just blazes past the 12R's score. Again, the 12R scored pretty well, but the Neo 9 Pro is on another level. In AnTuTu as well, despite the same chipsets, the iQOO Neo 9 Pro with the 1.6 million plus was able to rack up a good 100,000 plus score over the OnePlus 12R's 1.5 million plus. In 3D Mark Extreme Stress Test, while the OnePlus 12R does get the better average loop score when it came to consistency over the 20 minutes, the Neo 9 Pro with its 79.5% stability was more impressive. Finally, in the CPU throttle test, after all the torture in the previous three benchmarks, it was once again the Neo 9 Pro which performed better and consistent with an 87% score. So here are the benchmark scores of both phones on your screens right now. You can pause and take a look. So 4 hours have gone in the testing, and from the get-go, it's been a back and forth between these devices. So the OnePlus 12R is now back in the lead with 49% battery left, while the Neo 9 Pro is trailing right behind with 48% battery left. Alright, let's talk a bit more about performance, as it is now time for gaming. So right off the bat, there's no doubt both phones are top tier performance. Of course, name any game out there, BGMI, COD Mobile or anything, both can run it without a fuss. However, the difference here is how both phones deal with thermal management. Now, don't get me wrong, both these devices are two of the best in the market when it comes to managing heat dissipation. In fact, because of the larger VC cooling system, the 12R also cools down slightly faster than the Neo 9 Pro after intense usage. That said, when both devices are under heavy load, they do get warm, and sometimes, say 2 out of 10 times, they also get hot, with temperatures reaching to 42 degrees on the Neo 9 Pro and up to 41 degrees on the 12R. This is what I also cross-checked with a temperature gun. Now, under such situations, because the 12R has this metal frame and glass back versus the plastic frame and leather back on the iQOO, for me the Neo 9 Pro was more comfortable phone to hold under heavy loads. And generally also, again, while peak performance is solid on both when it comes to gaming, the flat display and the lightweight build of the iQOO Neo 9 Pro definitely wins it over for me. Okay, so with 5 hours gone and with the gaming round done, the OnePlus 12R is still in the lead with 38% battery left, while the Neo 9 Pro is now left with 33% battery. With that, we are in the last leg of our battery drain test comparison. I will now run an hour of Instagram on both smartphones here, but without keeping you waiting until the last minute, I am going to fast forward to the 6 hours mark, and with that, the OnePlus 12R finishes with 31% battery left, while the iQOO Neo 9 Pro finishes with 24% battery left. Here's an hour-by-hour breakdown of the battery drain of both smartphones on your screens right now. So just like last time, the OnePlus 12R had a solid showing in our battery drain test video. Now, when you compare the scores to the Neo 9 Pros, if it's not about using the camera, the 12R would have scored even better. In fact, if you look at the total drain of about 3800 mAh of the 12R versus 3900 mAh of the Neo 9 Pro, you would think the difference is just a mere 100 mAh. Well, technically right, but we also need to consider the fact that the 12R here has the bigger 5500 mAh battery, which does give it an advantage when it comes to sheer longevity in terms of endurance. So granted, the battery drain must have been about the same on both smartphones, but because of the bigger battery, the 12R should, in theory, probably last you a couple of hours longer than the Neo 9 Pro. That said, with 120 watt fast charging and 100 watt fast charging on both the iQOO and OnePlus respectively, both phones can go from 0 to hero in under 30 minutes. So summing up, yes, for the extra money, the OnePlus 12R is a very good option with its metal side frame and IP64 rating, a 16GB RAM option and a larger 5500 mAh battery. But the Neo 9 Pro more than makes up for it by offering a 144Hz screen, a 120-watt faster charging solution, and 3000 nits peak brightness that can actually be utilized by content available online. Rest, what do you guys think of this battery drain test comparison between the OnePlus 12R and the iQOO Neo 9 Pro? Which one will you choose? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.